Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no secret is revealed. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.
Your name is Catherine Pollard Griggs?
Yes.
You are the wife of Colonel George Griggs?
Yes.
11 years of marriage?
Yes.
It's true that your husband is and has been the head of special operations under Admiral Kelso, NATO?
Yes.
And it's true that you were the head of the hospitality committee?
Yes.
You were the member of the executive board of NATO's Wives Club?
Absolutely.
And also that your husband's background includes NATO Defense College in Rome?
Yes.
Princeton class of 1959?
Yes.
His intelligence career, his spy career began in Vietnam?
Yes.
And it's also true that it continues under this day?
Absolutely, under General Wilhelm.
And that your husband was the liaison between the White House and President Jamal of Beirut, Lebanon, at the time of the bombing of the Marine barracks in Lebanon?
Yes.
And in fact, your husband was an alcoholic?
Absolutely.
And probably
Incredible.
is to this day.
Absolutely.
And during these drunken stupors, he would, so to speak, blab on and tell you everything he knew about the intelligence community.
Everything.
Nothing was hid.
No.
It was like he wanted to relieve himself and to unburden his heart.
Yes.
And so he told you everything that you now know about the
Yes.
intelligence community.
Yes.
And that you are talking about. And in fact, he told you that they knew the bombing was coming down in
Yes.
Beirut before it occurred.
Absolutely.
And also, by your association with him, you have come to understand and know, and this, as shocking as this may sound to the people who are viewing this, that the United States military is literally run by sexual deviants, heavy on the homosexual side.
Truly.
And that in the United States military, people like Jeffrey Dahmer and Kaczynski and McVeigh and Oswald and a host of other people who have a sexual deviant background, primarily homosexual, these individuals are actually sought out by people within the military,
The Army.
The Army, for advancement into intelligence type
Yes.
work,
Yes.
because they are so easy to control.
Yes.
And they actually become mind slaves, and that the U.S.
Yes.
military,
Yes.
literally,
Yes.
as outrageous as it sounds, is a mind control operation.
Yes. Totally now. Totally now. They've gotten rid of the good folks, like MacArthur. Got rid of them one by one. Totally take over.
It's all run by the military, even though it's supposedly not military. And they give the good old boys these jobs. I mean, he was probably earning $200,000. The retirement for a colonel, my husband, just the retirement salary was $50,000, $60,000. Then they give them these other jobs, so their income is $200,000, $300,000. Now, that is not right.
But it would certainly purchase loyalty.
Oh, definitely. They all get swimming pools behind their house.
Who's ever going to bite the hand that feeds that good?
No, nobody. Dirty business, you know, but all of the captains and all of the admirals know this and wink. The military, the Marine Corps is a political arm of a group that wants to run everything. control the drugs, sell the weapons, keep the weapons flow going. This isn't what guys are going to sign up to do. Their heart's not in it. They're not going to even do it for the money. They'd rather die than have hit squads come after them, collection groups from Great Lakes. They have a group of Marines who goes out and collects. Guys who have gone to their psychiatrist and they're a little bit talking too much. They get rid of them. But they're not told why. They're just told they're enemies or they've done bad things. So they don't, it's kind of like they don't, so they won't have any guilt and culpability. They make it cold. Just get rid of this guy, okay? Okay, get a promotion, get a new car, get some stock. It was a contract organization. Getting information on people. Having them, if they weren't corrupting them. Farming people so that he would have something on them so that they would use that later to control and manipulate them. It's like what happened to Newt Gingrich. All of these guys, like Newt Gingrich, Bill Clinton, who've gone through the sweats, like Cohen, what happens is they get a little tiny thing to prove their power. George said what they do is they nurture, they cultivate the sons of prominent families in all, the State Department finds them. Mm-hmm. They're called rising stars. Yeah. And they turn, that's the word they use, George used, they turn them, they bring them in, they rope them in. If they're alcoholics, give them more booze than anybody. If they want women, they find the women, they turn them, and then let them know, if they ever get in trouble, come on over.
The owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. By the way, it's the same big club they used to beat you over the head with all day long when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged. And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hard-working people, white collar, blue collar, doesn't matter what color shirt you have on. Good, honest, hard-working people continue. These are people of modest means. Continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all. Yeah. You know? And nobody seems to notice, nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on, the fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white, and blue dick that's being jammed up their assholes every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it.
When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them. End quote.
We all love Dave Chappelle.
Exactly. Dave Chappelle has never been a part of the Illuminati. They don't want him or me or people like us. But now, it's not necessary for us to store up that hornet's nest unless we intend to get stung 1,000,000 times. I didn't understand that. They had to sting me 1,000,000 times. I'm still not going to join, but I respect it a little more.
All right. How do you handle that? Because they put your name in the press with a lot of rumors and a lot of situations that they try to put on Cat Williams. Do you feel ever the need to, like, I got to go defend this and put out a story about who I am, or do you just let that kind of like roll off your back?
Well, as you can see, I've let it all go for quite some time, and a lot of that is just based upon the fact that I don't really know how to complain because all of the people that I ever looked up to had to go through it too. So I know how much they talked about Martin Luther King, and I know what they end up doing to him. I know this same story about Jesus and a few of my uncles. So now I know that if your mouth is really, really big and you try to tell the truth for a living and you like to air people out, hatred is coming your way. I didn't know it was going to be this type of hatred, but you know, I'm concrete in all things because of He who strengthens me. So that doesn't mean I always make the right decisions, but I am going to stand by what I stand for. And I'm only continuing to do it because I was looking for somebody who was doing it instead of me. And I just must have missed them, you know what I mean? So at some point you have to figure out what example are you trying to be. If it's just going to be you going to make it and live happily ever after and go off into the sunset, then that's what that is. Otherwise, you're on the front line of this battle. And those of us who understand that this is a part of what comes with it.
They took my children from me.
Yeah, I mean,
How terrible is that?
I did want to ask, the cops, you know, allegedly found some guns and...
Yeah, they always find guns. I never leave without. I'm on the middle of an interview, so.
Sorry about it. They found guns and drugs now.
Drugs?
That's what it was reported.
Sir, you can look at my paperwork. There was no drugs. Weed is not a drug.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that's safe for kids to be around guns and stuff like that? I mean, I'm just curious.
How do you keep this kid safe without guns? They were in a lockbox that the police broke.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm saying, if the police come in and raid my place and break into my gun boxes, you're gonna find guns. But these aren't. Well, I'm not in a gang. What difference does it make?
Now, you were actually stopped for this and let go because you have a license for it.
No,
right?
This is their 9th time coming to my house. The problem was this time they came to my office and took my kids from an office, not from my house, from an office. So now when I can't have my kids at my office,
that's an issue.
I must be the most terrible black dude. Because here's the whole thing. You're gonna charge me with child endangerment? After I adopted 7 children and had them for 14 years in this state? Really? You coming after my kids now? Because it was already a witch hunt. Now you want my babies? Yikes.
That's wild, man. That's wild, Cat.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, shit. I'm sure you want this year to go.
Thank you, baby.
I'm sure you want this year to finish up, man. Do you have any resolutions or something you might do different next year?
Yeah, I'm gonna be white next time.
Straight up.
In my next life, I'm Caucasian, and I ain't taking no for an answer. Let me explain something to you. I know it's people doing poorly in this country.
Yeah.
And they shot Trayvon Martin dead for looking kind of like I look. Yeah. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X ended up dead for telling the truth. So as a comedian, I don't think it won't happen to me. I think they've thrown me in jail 36 times in 36 months, and I think you've never seen me in a court of law. That means they're effing with me. And today, they crossed the line.
There was a lesson that I needed to learn. And
God helps me because if you're slow, He understands you slow, and so.
And tell us that lesson, because I think they need and want to hear it.
Well, I'm saying I'm in a weird position as a person in Hollywood. I'm saying anyway, just because of the amount of truth that I will tell, and the fact that I take joy in it, and there's no way that you can tell that much truth without offending certain portions of the population. And so now you have to figure out how you're going to handle that. And at 5'5", I've always handled it just first. You know, so that I'm always addressing whatever the problem is to nip it in the bud. And as a professional and as somebody that's now where I stand, I can no longer do that. Those are just the breaks. And so I wish that what I learned in 6 days, I could have learned in 6 minutes. It didn't happen that way. I'm just thankful that it didn't take 6 years instead of those 6 days. You know,